The neighborhood always looked perfect from a distance. The kind of place that felt almost too quiet, too controlled. Like even the air followed rules. But the closer you lived here, the more you noticed the cracks under that perfection. The subtle tension behind every smile and every curtain. People here didn't talk loudly, but they watched everything. And somewhere inside this controlled silence, something unusual was about to happen. That morning, my cousin arrived. He stepped out of the car like he didn't belong to any of it, carrying that outsider energy that instantly made people look twice. He smiled, but it wasn't the kind of smile this neighborhood was used to, and that alone was enough to shift the balance in ways nobody understood yet. We didn't know it then, but the calm we were seeing was already starting to break. And no one saw it coming yet. This neighborhood wasn't just organized, it was controlled down to the smallest detail. Every lawn had to be trimmed to the exact same height, every mailbox aligned like soldiers on parade, every house painted in approved shades that all somehow looked identical. Even the quiet felt enforced here, like silence was part of the rules. The HOA didn't just manage the community, they monitored it, watching through complaints, reports, and those constant drive-bys that made everyone feel like they were being evaluated instead of simply living. And at the center of it all were their so-called HOA cops, men who weren't real officers but acted like they were running a city. They drove around in golf carts with fake confidence, wearing badges that meant nothing outside this bubble, carrying clipboards like weapons of authority. People here learned quickly not to question them, because questioning always led to attention, and attention always led to problems. It was the kind of system where control disguised itself as order, and everyone slowly adjusted just to avoid becoming the next example. Then he arrived. My cousin didn't walk into this neighborhood the way most people do, carefully, cautiously, already adjusting themselves to fit in. He stepped out of the car as none of that mattered to him at all. Calm, steady, almost too relaxed for a place that punished anything different. There was something about him that didn't match the environment. Like he carried a different kind of confidence, the kind that didn't come from living under rules like these. He looked around slowly, taking everything in without judgment, but also without submission. That alone felt unusual here. Most people lower their eyes in this neighborhood, even when they're just passing through. But he didn't. He just observed, like he was reading a situation instead of entering one. I could tell people noticed him immediately. Not because he was loud, but because he wasn't trying to disappear. There was discipline in the way he moved, a quiet control in every step. Like someone used to pressure but not impressed by it. And the strange part was, I never really knew everything about what he did back home. He never talked much about it. Just said he worked in security and left it at that. It didn't take long for the neighborhood to notice him. At first, it was subtle, a few lingering stares from people watering their lawns a little too slowly, pretending not to watch him as he walked past. Then came the small questions disguised as friendliness. Who was he staying with? How long would he be here? Did he register with the HOA office? Each question carried the same undertone, polite on the surface but sharpened underneath. One of the HOA representatives even made a casual stop near the driveway, clipboard in hand, as it gave him authority over reality itself. He tried to sound welcoming, but every sentence felt like an inspection. My cousin just listened, nodded slightly, and answered without giving them anything to work with. No irritation, no fear, just calm neutrality that somehow unsettled them more than resistance would have. I could see the shift happening in real time. People who were comfortable controlling others don't like it when they can't read someone. And my cousin gave them nothing to read, no nervous habits, no defensive posture, no attempt to prove he belonged. Just a quiet presence. And in a place like this, silence that doesn't submit always starts to feel suspicious. It happened the next morning. The neighborhood was still half asleep, the sky barely shifting from dark blue to gray, when my cousin decided to go for a run. Nothing unusual, just a quiet jog through the same streets I had walked 1,000 times. But in this place, even normal actions can become suspicious if the wrong people decide to look at them the wrong way. He had his earbuds in, moving at an easy pace, steady and focused, when I noticed the HOA patrol cart start rolling behind him. At first, it looked harmless, just one of those routine drive-bys they love doing to feel important. But then a second car joined in. Then they slowed down. Then they matched his pace. I already knew where this was going. One of them finally called out, sharp and loud, breaking the morning silence. He told my cousin to stop immediately, like he was issuing a command in some official operation. My cousin slowed down, confused more than anything, and turned around calmly. They started with questions first, but the tone wasn't really questioning. It was pressure. Where are you going? Why are you here? Do you have permission to be in this area? Each sentence sounded more like an accusation than curiosity. My cousin tried to explain, still calm, still respectful, but they kept interrupting him. Their voices got sharper, their posture more aggressive, and I could already feel the situation shifting from misunderstanding into something worse, something unnecessary. The moment shifted when they stopped pretending it was just a conversation. One of the HOA enforcers stepped out of the cart, closing the distance like he was trying to shrink the space between authority and intimidation. The other stayed behind him, watching, hand already on a set of plastic restraints like he had done this before, and thought it made him important. My cousin noticed it immediately, but he didn't react the way they expected. No backing away, no raised voice, just a quiet stillness that somehow made everything feel sharper. They told him he was being detained for failing to comply with neighborhood security protocol. The words sounded ridiculous, but their tone carried enough confidence to make it feel like they believed it. One of them reached for his arm, testing control first, as if waiting for resistance to justify what came next. My cousin gently stepped back, not aggressively, just enough to create space. He still wasn't escalating anything. He was giving them every chance to stop, but they didn't see it that way. In their minds, hesitation was guilt, and calmness was defiance. The tension kept rising because nothing about this made sense anymore. People started noticing from nearby houses, curtains shifting and phones appearing behind windows. The situation was no longer private. And that's when the second enforcer moved in closer, lowering his voice like he was about to cross a line he had no right to approach in the first place. The change didn't come with shouting or panic. It came with silence. My cousin exhaled slowly, as he had finally accepted that the situation had moved past misunderstanding. His expression didn't harden. It just sharpened. Focus replaced patience, and in that moment, it felt like something switched inside him, not emotional, but calculated. Like someone shifting from tolerance into procedure. When the enforcer reached again, my cousin caught the movement before it fully formed. Not violently, not dramatically, just enough to redirect it harmlessly and create space. A simple step, a small pivot, and suddenly the balance of control was gone. The same confidence they had walked in with didn't look so stable anymore when it wasn't working. The second man tried to recover by escalating verbally, but it didn't land. My cousin didn't argue. He didn't explain. He just stayed calm, forcing them to deal with the fact that nothing they were doing was producing the reaction they wanted. That's what started breaking them more than anything else. From the sidewalk, neighbors were watching now. You could feel the shift in energy through the entire street. People who were once behind curtains were now fully outside, witnessing something they weren't used to seeing in this controlled little world. And then, without raising his voice, my cousin said something simple, something that didn't sound like a threat but carried enough weight to stop everything for half a second. And in that half second, everyone realized the control had quietly changed hands. By the time I got back inside, the neighborhood had already turned into a storm of whispers. Phones were out everywhere. Someone had recorded the entire incident, and now it was spreading faster than anything I had ever seen in this controlled little community. The same people who used to stay silent behind their curtains were now talking openly, replaying the footage, dissecting every second like it was breaking news. In the group chats, the tone shifted from curiosity to chaos. The HOA tried to respond quickly, but it was too late. Their usual confidence didn't land the same way anymore. Every statement they released only triggered more questions, more screenshots, more people pointing out inconsistencies. The image they had built over the years was starting to crack in real time, and the worst part for them was simple. For the first time, they weren't controlling the story anymore. The neighborhood was. The HOA didn't give up easily. Within hours, they escalated everything, calling in real authorities and pushing their version of events with desperate confidence. But the moment official officers arrived, the entire narrative started to fall apart. Questions were asked, details were checked, and nothing the HOA claimed held up under real scrutiny. Then came the final blow. My cousin calmly revealed credentials they hadn't expected, proof of legitimate authority and experience that completely changed the tone of the situation. The same people who tried to detain him now had nothing left to stand on. For the HOA, it was over. Their authority didn't just fail, it collapsed in front of everyone watching. After everything had settled, the neighborhood felt different, quieter, but no longer controlled the same way. The HOA had crossed a line they couldn't walk back from, and everyone knew it. Sometimes it only takes one moment for an entire system to lose its grip. So tell me, was it justice or chaos?